Muslims must die, and attempted to stab her and stab her. And she went to the bathroom and called 911. By the time she came out, her son had been stabbed 26 times.
Because he was an innocent child. He was Muslim. That's what happened. He was Muslim, and this is what they did. This is what this monster did.
A fragile peace exists in even the safest of towns, its tranquility resting upon unspoken social contracts to treat thy neighbor with compassion. Yet evil respects no bonds when prejudice takes root in darkened hearts. Hatred grows and spreads in those unable to see shared humanity in faces unlike their own. From such corrupted soil, a poisonous plant may grow that strangles innocence without warning. In minutes, a tranquil town was shattered, a woman widowed, and a hopeful future extinguished. When baseless hate overrides human bonds, evil finds room to bloom, often in the most unlikely soil. This tragic case clearly shows what persistent hatred causes when allowed to spread unchecked. For once such poison takes root, no peaceful refuge remains. This is the story of Wadea al-Fayoume and how intolerance ruined paradise. Hello guys, and welcome back to Crimeco, where we break down some of the most chilling true crime cases from every corner of the globe, providing you with the most recent and in-depth information. If this sparks your interest, we would be delighted if you could subscribe to the channel. Also, giving this video a like significantly supports the channel's growth. We appreciate your help. Now grab a blanket to hide behind, and let's dive into today's interesting case. So it was in a quiet Illinois suburb last autumn when a flowering friendship was choked by madness. Two families had long shared a home in neighborly harmony. Their lives were connected through happiness, with children playing and adults talking kindly. But as conflicts arose in distant lands, one man's mind became filled with fear and suspicion. Even though they were far away, he started to see his tenants as symbols of a people who were suddenly treated badly. The joyful sounds of children playing became strange and unsettling to him. As former fondness transformed into paranoid hate, a disturbed scheme took shape. On a mild October Saturday, the landlord climbed the stairs, holding not presents but an ominous purpose. Knocking at the door, his roughened hands concealed primitive objects. A mother answered, relieved to see a familiar face she thought friend, not foe. But seeing her faith, the man saw only red. Shouting insults, he made a sudden move to strike before she could call for assistance. In the chaos that followed, her face bore the marks of the encounter as she hurriedly escaped his rage. The madman raged on, finding a small boy left unprotected. With savage abandon, he set upon the child, stealing the life from his fragile frame. Nearly 24 times his blade pierced the innocent boy's self before his cries went silent. By the time authorities arrived, a broken form laid still amidst gruesome evidence of a home's horrific undoing. The tragedy unfolded in Plainfield, Illinois, a village of just over 40,000 nestled 40 miles southwest of Chicago. Founded 2 centuries ago along the DuPage River, Plainfield grew from fertile prairie farmland into a blossoming suburb. Quiet residential streets and vibrant downtown reflect its evolution into a thriving middle-class community. Plainfield schools rank high statewide, its crime rates remain relatively low, and community spirit runs strong. Residents describe a welcoming place where kids play freely and neighbors look out for one another. Immigrants are drawn to the American dream promise of this peaceful village. It was here a young Palestinian family recently sought haven, hoping to plant new roots far from conflict-torn homelands. For widow Hanan Shahin, Plainfield offered a chance to raise her infant son Wadea in liberty's nurturing soil. After years spent seeking stability, Illinois promised their permanent refuge. 2 years ago, they found an affordable rental home owned by Joseph and Patricia Zuba, who lived upstairs. Wadea's giggles soon filled the little duplex as the talented boy befriended both the elderly couple and kids next door. His sweet charm crossed cultured bounds effortlessly. To the Subas, young Wadea felt like family, Pat often showering him with gifts. Joseph built Wadea, a play pool out back, and regaled him with tales of serving in the Marines. Such shared moments cultivated an innocent intercultural bond in Plainfield's fertile ground. But seeds of evil may lurk even in Eden's gardens, waiting to choke light. As conflict ignited between ancestral homelands, paranoia poisoned a once kind landlord's heart. Dark fear obscured his view of neighbors he'd known 2 peaceful years. A cultural divide steadily widened until evil found cracks through which to take root on that alarming October day.
The suspect knocked on the door and started an argument about the Israel-Hamas war, then attacked her with a large knife. She reported that she fought him off and hid in the bathroom, but could hear the suspect stabbing her son from another room.
What bloomed in the Suba home would haunt Plainfield forevermore. 6-year-old Wadea Al-Fayoume was born in 2016 in Chicago to Palestinian immigrants seeking refuge from lifelong unrest. His mother, Hanan Shaheen, came to America from the village of Beit Likia near Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Desperate for stability, she worked multiple jobs to bring over other family members, including Wadea's father when the boy was an infant. Wadea was named for his paternal grandfather, but barely knew his father's side of the family overseas. He spent his earliest years living in a small Chicago apartment as his single mother struggled to make ends meet in a new country. Their lives changed in 2019 when a friend told Hanan of an affordable rental home in suburban Plainfield owned by an elderly couple. Joseph and Patricia Tsuba had lived most of their quiet lives in Plainfield since marrying in 1970. Joseph served in the Marine Corps, then worked as an auto mechanic before retirement. His wife found employment at the local high school. They lived peacefully, if modestly, occasionally renting out their duplex's ground floor apartment to supplement meager pensions. When Hanan Shaheen moved into the Suba's rental home with toddler Wadea, she found them kindly and grandfatherly, reminding her of family back home. Wadea's adorable smile endeared him to the older couple right away. Pat doted on the boy, bringing him treats and buying toys to clutter the yard. Joseph built Wadea, a small shallow pool in Plazet, where he often splashed under the watchful eye of his mother and landlord. To Wadea, Mr. Joe became like the doting grandpa he never had. At the boys' birthday parties, the Subas always spoiled him happily.
As a matter of fact, the father says that he had built a treehouse for the boy and allowed him to swim in a makeshift pool and brought him toys.
These were heartwarming years for 2 cultures colliding in friendship rather than conflict. But darker undercurrents slowly eroded fond foundations. As Wadea grew into a rowdy, soccer-loving child starting school, tensions between Palestinians and Israelis mounted half a world away. News reports colored Joseph's views of neighbors, now seen through a lens of escalating Middle East violence. He began remarking on troubles there to Hanan, hinting she and Wadea were somehow complicit. Still, she hoped his behavior an aberration that would pass like storm clouds drifting from their peaceful home's horizon. But in Joseph's mind, gathering tempests twisted perception further as October dawned. Voices of children at play became not songs of innocence, but whispers of menacing plots. His flowering paranoia would soon bear poisonous fruit. In early October 2022, rising Israeli-Palestinian hostilities overseas began impacting the Suba's long peaceful rental home. Joseph started peppering tenant Hanan Shaheen with pointed questions about Middle East conflict whenever they crossed paths. Though living in America for years, he viewed the Palestinian woman with increasing suspicion. Hanan tried brushing off Joseph's provocative comments, hoping the tense situation abroad might soon stabilize and her landlord's unsettling behavior along with it. But his paranoid fixation on faraway conflicts only escalated. Soon Joseph demanded the single mother and her 6-year-old son Wadea move out immediately, accusing them of threatening collusion against him. Feeling frightened but trapped financially, Hanan asked for time to locate new housing with little means or options. This seemed to only reinforce Joseph's irrational fears of some looming danger from his tenants, tied to Hamas militants halfway around the world. The downtown Chicago apartment Hanan and Wadea, once occupied, had long since been leased to others during their 2 years in Plainfield. With nowhere to turn locally, she pleaded again for patience from Joseph while seeking new lodging options. But reason could not penetrate the fortress of false beliefs insulating his mind. On the calm Saturday morning of October 14, 2022, while Wadea was eating cereal and watching cartoons, a knock came at the door. Hanan assumed it was Joseph coming to continue his harassment. When she opened the door, his wild eyes and concealed hand immediately unsettled her. Before she could react, he was exerting a forceful grip on her throat. Hanan struggled to break free as Joseph produced a sizable blade, inflicting severe wounds upon her while spewing hate-filled rants linking her to Gaza. Covered in crimson stains, she managed to escape to the bathroom and locked herself inside, calling 911, gasping in desperation. But sweet Wadea had been left helpless and alone with their crazed assailant. Emergency dispatch operators heard the boy's feeble cries as Joseph turned his object repeatedly into his tiny form. By the time police arrived, Wadea was beyond saving, a casualty of an unfathomable storm fueled by hatred and manipulation. Joseph was arrested on the spot without resistance, his venom expended fully on innocents who had only ever welcomed him. The shocking incident made international headlines and intensified Islamophobia concerns locally. Heartbroken, Chicago's Muslim community came together to lay Wadea's small casket to rest and comfort his mother.
Now, the mother was unable to attend her own son's funeral and burial today, as she remains in hospital at last check, listed in serious condition.
Their uphill journey toward healing had only just begun. The tragic passing of Wadea al-Fayoume sent shockwaves well beyond Plainfield, Illinois, as the world mourned an innocent life cut short by senseless aggression.
What type of hate has to be manufactured in the head of a man for him to stand over a 6-year-old boy and stab him 26 times?
The alarming events of October 14, 2022 permanently reshaped the fabric of a tranquil community and the families closely connected by a shared tragedy.
When he was stabbed, he was last words to his mom. Mom, I'm fine. You know what? He is fine. He's in a better place.
For widow Hanan Shahin, the physical and emotional scars will remain forever. The loss of her only beloved son warped a life once filled with modest but meaningful hopes and dreams. Her courageous testimony ensured some justice was served, but nothing could undo the permanent damage inflicted. Still, even amidst profound grief, she resolved to channel anguish into advocacy. Refusing to let Wadea's passing deepen divides, Hanan spoke out against hatred in all forms. She reminded how less than 2 years prior, she considered Joseph Suba kin. If unwell minds can be so poisoned, she warned, unchecked hatred threatens everyone should it take root. Her compassion defied comprehension but inspired many.
How can you live without justice, and how you will be in peace without justice?
Are you confident that justice will be served?
I trust in God.
The town of Plainfield also underwent deep introspection in the aftermath. Community leaders held forums on addressing bias and forceful behavior prevention measures. Students created art honoring Wadea's memory. Historic tensions between groups were openly acknowledged, then addressed through education and cooperation. Many credited the lasting impacts to Hanan's grace and courage, speaking out despite unthinkable personal trauma. By all accounts, the shy Palestinian immigrant was transformed into a towering moral voice, guiding Plainfield forward from the abyss of its darkest day. The name Wadea al-Fayoume will forever echo as a cautionary tale on the high costs of fear and otherness. But more profoundly, it signifies the power of human will to illuminate darkness through righteousness, however improbable the messenger. For in Wadea's mother, the world witnessed profound resilience of spirit and nobility of purpose. Her steadfast refusal to meet malice with malice remains far greater and more enduring than the evil that inflicted such unsettling harm. It serves as a guiding light forward through society's darkest valleys into yet unseen sunlit peaks. Therein lies a stirring lesson on limitless possibility when humanity bonds together rather than rends apart in times of greatest peril. Before you leave, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell. This will ensure you stay informed about the latest true crime cases we uncover. We're grateful to have you as part of our community as we explore the captivating mysteries that continue to fascinate us all. Stay curious and vigilant that even closed books still hold untold pages waiting patient revelation. Thank you for joining us, and we eagerly anticipate seeing you in our next exploration. Until next time.